Hello everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Self-Improvement Project. I hope everybody is well. I hope as we are getting closer to, well, we are in winter now, I hope you are doing things to look after yourself physically as well as mentally. Mentally, it's becoming a lot more prevalent with the dark nights. However, they work hand in hand, and always remember that. If you've been enjoying the content of the Self-Improvement Project, I have a Patreon page where you can become a very loyal supporter of everything I do with the Self-Improvement Project. Through £5 a month, I do bonus episodes and you get early access to all the episodes. I usually do everything about a month in advance, so if you can't get enough of the episodes, then the Patreon is there for that reason. And also just if you want to generally support the content that I do. I absolutely love creating it, and the messages that I get that I'm sure that you're aware of because I talk about it all the time. But if you want more, it's on the Patreon. Today's episode is called What Are You Proud Of This Year? And the reason for this is obviously the time of year that we've got. This time of year where we become a lot more reflective. We look at and analyze, sometimes critically, at our performance over the last 12 months. But I want to start this episode by getting you to ask yourself this question. At this time next year, what will you be thankful you spent time on during the next 12 months? So I'm just reversing it a little bit here. Thinking ahead. So in December 2022, what are you going to be thankful you spent time on during 2022? This can act as a really good motivator. It can create some clarity around what you want to achieve during this time. And when I got asked this question, it's what provoked this episode. It's what provoked the thought of, well, what am I thankful for that I spent time on in the last 12 months? I think, to be honest, the main thing is this podcast. I've managed to turn up every week for 12 months. And there's other things as well, including exercise, including diet, including social relationships side of things as well. So think on that question and see what it brings up for you. See what moments it perhaps brings up for you that you want to use from the last 12 months and maybe implement into the next 12. As I mentioned, the end of year is always reflective and can be motivational as we lead up to that kickstart of January. It's space to think, not only about what you've done, but also to think about who you've been. The character, the values and the attitudes that you've portrayed and demonstrated over this time. These things sometimes don't come into the field of play because they're intangible, they're immeasurable. There's no grade that you can give that. There is sometimes no way of measuring it apart from feeling. Sometimes a way of measuring it is the respect that you get off of other people, the people that you spend time with. But these should not be underestimated when it comes to the value of them and the importance that they have alongside the achievements of the last 12 months. For me, I like to split this reflective time into the seasons. If you think of since COVID started back here was March 2020 anyway, it can sometimes all be a bit messy when it comes to timelines. So that's why the seasons can be really useful. What did I do in the winter? What did I do in the spring, the summer, the autumn just passed? And those seasons can bring back memories of things that were maybe milestones in your journey. These events can sometimes be very useful to look at, maybe the catalyst for things that you've achieved during this time as well. Something you did in the spring made you achieve something that you did in the autumn, and that wouldn't have happened without X, Y, Z. I also like to analyse journals, and this is why whenever you see someone talking about the importance of journaling, the benefits of journaling, apart from in that moment when you gain clarity over your thoughts, getting them down on paper, looking back is very powerful for times like these. How was I feeling in May, in the middle of May this year? The only way I'll be able to define that is by looking at my journal. And then by looking at my journal, I can see how I felt, and I can see how that day and those thoughts on that day motivated me to become this person I am today. And it all starts to add up. And this is, I believe, maybe one of the only ways that we can measure these aspects, such as character, values, attitudes. If you read my email in the week just past, one thing that was provoked by one of the wonderful people I've been coaching was looking at when we set goals and flipping it into looking at values. So instead of setting goals for 2022, we set values that we want to achieve, who we want to become. And I want you to try this. You can try it instead of or alongside. I'm always going to pick systems over goals, but goals can be very motivating. I get that. But we do not put enough importance on our values, how they mold and shape our everyday lives. And your values evolve. In your teens, you're discovering, you're trying things, you're fitting in socially. In your 20s, you're in the real world and you're just finding your way. And then as you go into your 30s, like I am next month, your values change again. And I'm not just saying it's in decades, it could be in smaller periods than that. It's not linear. It could be a couple of years, and then it might be a few months, and then another couple of years, and then it might be 20 years. But the fact of the matter is, we need to acknowledge and recognize that our values change. We change. We become who we want to be. We get closer to who we want to be. So why are we not looking at that as an objective thing? Why? What values do you want to hold in 2022? This will help you become the person you want to be. If you don't value exercise, that goal to become an athlete is not going to happen. So you could save yourself a bit of time. I'm probably going to do another episode on this, value setting. But today it's to provoke your thought. So as well as being reflective, I would love for you to set some values. Or even if you don't feel like you want to, maybe reflect on the values you have and the last time you felt like they changed. And that's us. Thank you very much for listening, guys. I am literally blown away by you all when I see emails, messages, things like that. So thank you. If you want the lovely Sunday morning email that I recommend having a cup of coffee with and peace and quiet, you can sign up. I'll put it below. I'll put my website below as well, where everything is that I make for you. So have a good one, and I will catch you all next time. Cheers.